Hello, this webinar is titled Voting for People of Highest Character, and it's part of a voting series. Well, let's begin with the definition of character. What is it anyway? Well, it's been defined as a distinguishing mark, but as it pertains to a person, it can be said about them that a person has these attributes. They're truthful, honorable, pure, lovely, of good reputation, and praiseworthy. It could be seen in them that they are filled with love, joy, peace, forbearance, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. A person of character is when these principles and motivations control their life. Well, let's take a look at what four founding fathers say about putting people of character in office. And we'll actually take somewhat of a timeline approach and look at these four individuals in the sequence in which they made their remarks, according to the time period they lived in. Let's begin with William Penn. He was a Quaker, he was an early colonial leader, and he's the founder of the province of Pennsylvania. He said this about good government depending on good character. Government like clocks go from the motion men give them, and as governments are made and moved by men, so by them they are ruined too. Wherefore governments rather than depend upon men than men upon governments, let men be good, and the government cannot be bad. But if men be bad, let the government be ever so good, they will endeavor to warp and to spoil it to their turn. Though good laws do well, good men do better. For good laws may want for lack of good men and be abolished or invaded by ill men. But good men will never want for good laws, nor suffer or allow ill ones. And so this is rather profound, that the actual mechanisms of government, even though it can be good government, if good government's filled with bad men, good government will decay. Well, as you can see, William Penn lived from the mid-1600s to 1718. He passed away 70 years before the national constitution and elections were put in play. He also passed away 5 years before the next founding father we'll take a look at. Dr. John Witherspoon was a signer of the Declaration of Independence, president of Princeton, and mentor to the other founders of that period. He said this: "If you care about the country, character comes first. Those who wish well to the state ought to choose to places of trust men of inward principle, justified by exemplary conversation, and the people in general ought to have a regard to the moral character of those whom they invest with authority, either in the legislative, executive, or judicial branches." And so he's really elevating the importance of this. Next, Sam Adams has some opinions on this. People of character in office. He was a signer of the Declaration of Independence also and governor of Massachusetts. He said this about character in office: "Nothing's more essential to the establishment of manners in a state than that all persons employed in places of power and trust be men of unexceptionable characters. The public cannot be too curious concerning the character of public men." A contemporary of Sam Adams was Noah Webster, father of American scholarship and education. He said character first over all other concerns. In selecting men for office, let principle be your guide. Regard not the particular sect or denomination of the candidate. Look to his character. He also, on voting for people of bad character, made the point that it's a breach of trust to our fellow man. When a citizen gives his suffrage, his vote, to a man of known immorality, he abuses his trust, that is, his civic responsibility. He sacrifices not only his own interest, but that of his neighbor. He betrays the interest of his country. So he's saying if you don't steward your vote well, or you do it carelessly, you are operating in a breach of trust to your fellow man. Well, voting is an act of stewardship to future generations. Again, Sam Adams. Every citizen will see, and I hope be deeply impressed with a sense of it, how exceedingly important it is to himself and how intimately the welfare of his children is connected with it, that those who are to have a share in making as well as in judging and executing the laws should be men of singular wisdom and integrity. And so he's really making the case that the people that we put in office now will set the tone and atmosphere of government that our children and grandchildren will live under. And then finally, he elevates his thoughts even higher. Voting is an act of stewardship before God, Sam Adams implies. Let each citizen remember at the moment he is offering his vote that he is not making a present or a compliment to please an individual, or at least that is what he ought not to be doing, but that he is executing one of the most solemn trusts in human society, for which he is accountable to God and his country. He's saying that stewarding your vote and voting for men and women of character is an accountable activity before God. So let's think about the people that we're putting in office. This is U.S. Civics Training. Thanks for listening.